Brett and JR. Here we're at 349 Tennessee Avenue. You can see it's at the intersection of D and Tennessee. D is pretty busy, but Tennessee is quiet, pretty quiet, at least when you get to this part. It's two ways until you get to the 100 block. And we're about 4 blocks from Lincoln Park. It's this house on the corner, right there with the weird addition. That was actually quite modern. It sold a couple years ago. Let's go in. There's a couple of things to point out here. You can tell that this is staying wet. It could be because this has been replaced at some point, the gutter, and I don't know how far that goes, if it goes into a cast iron, which is pretty typical. There must be a sump pump or something coming out from under there. Underneath the porch here. It looks in decent condition, actually. Some of this brick needs repointing. That's a freeze-free. That looks good. Now this is the electrical line going in. This is a modern box, but as you can see, this line is a little small. It may be small for the house. That's not atypical. There's been the trim is in need of some scraping and painting. So definitely some deferred maintenance or things someone will have to take care of. There's some rotting trim along the porch. Okay. And this is a kind of a not expensive door, but pretty typical builder grade, I would say. So you walk into a very nice foyer. Some original details, original floors. When someone did the venting system, they kept the original vents in the floor. That's usually where the return is. Okay. So we'll start from the entry. Some large furniture in here. The windows up front look about 15 years old. The windows in the dining room look about 20. If you notice the original trim with vinyl windows, these are probably 15 to 20 years old, which is about what we hear is their lifespan. Some torn screens. Important to note that the ceilings here have been replaced with drywall. Sometimes we see plaster. It looks like it's been replaced with drywall, or sometimes we see bubbled ceilings. It's not coiffed, but it's there. Okay, it's a galley kitchen that has a keyhole entry. This is the structural beam that has been encased with wood for effect, so it could be painted white, or you can drywall it if you don't like the wood effect. Definitely builder grade cabinets, like kind of a little bit like basic Home Depot, with nice black granite countertops. So this could even just be quickly updated with a coat of paint and some new hardware. This is a 1-story bump out right here, and believe it or not, it really can pack a punch. This space here could be a bench where you could put your shoes or dog bowls or extra items to tuck, and then it also allows for the refrigerator to be tucked here. You can see that there's a window on the other side that's been blocked off to accommodate this fridge, and then it gives access to the foyer hall. sometimes people will put a half bath here, and then on the other side, a coat closet. So this gets blocked off and it doesn't become this circular round, but it allows for a half bath and a coat closet, or sometimes just room for a half bath. All right, let's go on up. Up here, we have 3 bedrooms. Sometimes we see skylights here, and we just see normal light. There's the return, so central air here. And a hall bath that is shared. Hall bath looks like it's been updated. Looks like it's been gussied up a little bit for the sale. We have the really lovely, that's sweet. You can replace this with maybe a vanity, even one that goes across. Gives it a little more storage here. Tucked in the corner over here is the toilet. Nice window. The roof here on that 1-story porch addition where that fridge is looks like it's in decent condition. Backyard kind of does a jig-jag, and that's the sweet alley behind. Air vent. For some reason a brick is propping up that valve, or maybe it's just hanging out. Don't know what the story is to that. This is the wall for the tub. It's a cast iron tub. Looks like it's been updated. This was updated. That cast iron tub looks a little newer. It's an American standard. It kind of looks about 15 years old-ish. Okay, this is the back bedroom. It's quite spacious. It's a twin bed, but this could fit 2 twin beds easily. It could do a queen. It could fit a king. So I'm not sure if this is the master, but we'll find out. It has 2 closets. These are not huge. They are not normally huge, but I do believe you can fit a whole hanger in here, I think. Maybe we'll test that out to see if we see any hangers. Yeah, it will. Here's the second closet. So they match. It'll fit. They just barely can close the door with the hangers, so it's like a perfect fit. Usually there's a little space above here if sometimes people make little cabinets up there or closets up there for extra storage. So you got 2 closets in this bedroom. This one has a brass doorknob. This one has a wood doorknob. It's really pretty. Has the transoms. Let's see what we can see here. Oh, something's growing. A nice tree. We'll go up back too. Okay. These are the 2 front rooms. This one is also quite large. I think this may be it might be a queen, but there's room for a lot larger. Okay, so this is an example of a window with a broken seal. Remember I said they last about 15 to 20 years. This is about what happens when they start to get compromised. So what we've been told by home inspectors is that your place will stay cool and it still has the insulation value, but it breaks the seal and allows for condensation in the middle, and you start getting to the point where you can't see out of it. To replace a window of this, you can just replace the sash, which is about $400. $350, and then the whole window would probably be about $600 or $700 for a not historic window. Okay. And this one has a brass doorknob closet too. They look like they use it for storage, but there is a bar for hangers. And definitely needs some paint. There's the transom and that door. Ceiling. Okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out is typically in these homes, there are not a lot of outlets. This room, the bathroom just had one. This one used to have like an exterior. See how it's just sort of, they put a layer, it used to be exterior, there's layered drywall or plaster on top. Anyways, so you can see that I bet there's only one outlet in this room. So I bet that there needs to be some electrical upgrades in this house. There's the vent behind the bed. Okay. And then this. Oh, another broken seal on this window, on both sashes. Okay, so this one is smaller, but it's for a Capitol Hill house, not too tiny. It's a 3rd bedroom by right, or by most people would call it that. It does not have a closet. But you can fit a bed, you could put a wardrobe there, and that's pretty much all it could fit, or a dresser. You can tell that this is where the light fixture is, and actually it only, I think you turn it on like this. It does not have a switch. You could certainly have this rewired. So this here is an old gas line, probably abandoned. This is from back when the houses used to be lit by gas lighting. Okay, this is the transom. So it has some of the old, it is not functioning as it's broken off right there, but this is kind of the old hardware for that. Wood doorknob on this side, wood doorknob on that side. Okay, and there is one outlet here. So we have one outlet in this room. Maybe two? No, it just looks like one. Okay, this bathroom, just to note, I think the only outlet is right here. One outlet. It looks like it's a GFCI, which is important, and that's where the light switch is. There is a light switch here. That one does this one. Okay. Down the steps we go. In the living room, it looks like, as you can see, there's not a lot of outlets. The cable comes in here, and the outlet's in the floor. Oh, there's one over here too. Okay. It's easier to pop them in on the first floor because people typically, it's easier to wire from the basement. So in the dining room, there's one here. And in the kitchen, I think it would be more updated. They have these for this one. That's probably for garbage disposal. Okay. Yeah. And then there's one back there. Let's go out back. Oh, let's see, do they have a key? Typically they, oh, here you are. Okay. So there is a deck. It's It needs some love. There's some rotting wood. But it has a little staircase off, so there's a little bit of room here to do either a grill with a little table or a table. I could probably do a table for 4 if you don't have the gate, because the gate swings out. And then this flowering tree is on your property. Let's see. And I'm not a great filmer. It goes down to this, could be enchanted garden, but currently it's not. There's a pretty, it looks like a crepe myrtle, but it's so big. And then the dogwood, I think. The condensing unit's a little older, but they tuck their bikes over here, and the great thing is having this little nook. You could make storage under here, under the deck, and it has access to an alley egress, which is really important for bikes, kids stuff. Looks like they're getting rid of stuff, and trash pickup is out of the alley, which is Britt. I believe that is D Street, and that goes down Tennessee Avenue. So it's quite pretty, the alley itself. The fence seems to be in good shape. And I'll just go back here to see what we have here. There's a lot of it's rained and it's muddy, but it feels like moisture. There could be some really helpful things to upgrade this with some landscaping or permeable space. Make some permeable outdoor pavers or whatnot. Okay. There is an older outlet here. Okay. And let's go to the basement. So there's no door, it's just open. Some carpet, and probably could use some washing. So, hello. I don't think anyone's down here.
6,722 residents hospitalized for COVID-19. This means, Judy, we have had consecutive decreases since Thursday. Let's hope it stays that way. Unlike the 105,523, where we know those are.
Okay, so the basement here, there is shower. It's been Lysoled. You can smell the Lysol. Okay, so the ceiling height here, well, first of all, the floor is poured concrete, and there's no carpet or anything on it. It's just poured and painted. The ceiling, so I'm 5'2", and I'm not standing on my tippy toes, so I'm thinking this is about 6.5 feet tall. It's a drop ceiling. So usually there's about, if you took down the drop ceiling, you could go up about an inch, typically, is the fence. See how that much higher it is from my 5'2" head. And then maybe you can see what it's like. That's the flooring underneath. This is a little broken. Okay, I fixed it. Right. That's where you turn off the spigot for the winter, the front spigot. This looks like it's been updated at some point. New drywall, framing. The floor, I believe, has been lowered because it slants a little bit down here. It feels actually pretty dry, but you can see that these are the footers. So at some point, I think it looks like this floor had been lowered from here to here. And that's pretty much how much you can lower a floor before you have to underpin, which is like extending the foundation down. So then there is the hot water heater, which is electric. And this is a nice brand, HVAC. It's newer and it's a direct vent. This is a higher end system. It doesn't need combustible air around it. It's not, so it's safer to be having this in your basement and having a family room. But the ducting system is older. Okay. And it direct vents out. This is the sewer line, one of the sewer stacks. That's a sewer clean out. Washer and dryer. And I'm not quite sure what's going on here. There's an air vent for this plumbing. That's an inspector thing, because this is sort of, it's hooked up to the washer and dryer. Oh, you know what? I do know what this is. This happened in a house on 8th Street. You need the air vent to release the pressure. So that's what this was. They probably did this whenever they installed the washer and dryer. That's about a $1,500 cost. The last time we saw that. The dryer vents out. That's a structural beam. So here is where you can see this without the drop ceiling. This is about how tall I can just touch it. I'm not on my tiptoes. Where the ducts are, I'm bending my arm, so it's probably like 5, 10, or 11. Here's a structural beam right here, so that couldn't, and here. So this wall isn't structural right here. And then here's the structural beam here. So the last thing to bring up is this electrical meter. Okay. It has, I'm going to open it. Okay, so it says it's 150 amps, which should be sufficient for a house this size. So it may not need, and there's room here for additional circuits. So for all those rooms that only have one outlet, there's plenty of room to add more outlets. And the sump pump, which is what I pointed out at the front. So that means there's a French drain. You can see where it was busted up. It will run along the perimeter of the house, a French drain. And as the rain, the water builds up in the pump, it will then pump it out instead of coming into the house. All right, that's it. This is actually a Capitol Hill house we used to see more often and haven't been lately. Something that's been updated over time with people on a budget. So nothing was ever done really high end, but just, you know, and so I would expect that a home inspection would show some deferred maintenance that would need to be done. And it is a great location.